everyone. I just want to say thanks to all of the recent people who joined coming over from the Wakefield Historical Appreciation page, or Wakefield History Appreciation page on Facebook. There's been quite a number of people who were interested in the layout, so I thought I'd better come along and just show you where things are at in terms of the station itself. So if I just zoom out a little bit, hopefully you can see where we're at with the station. That's the whole of the station building at the moment. The roof isn't on just here properly yet, but I thought I'd just take you through where we're at. So starting at the end of the building, you might be able to see both the top window and bottom door there. I was only just outside that bottom door a couple of weeks ago. Both of those are 3D printed. The bottom one just in normal grey resin, and the top one in a clear resin. I don't know why I did it in clear resin, but just to hopefully keep the windows as they are. So moving along, we have now a doorway that was an entry onto the platform itself. That doorway there that you can see used to come up from the subway on Westgate itself, up through that area there under the clock tower, and it used to exit out there originally, but then later on that door was, I think, pretty much permanently closed, and there was a door out the back there that you could then walk around the station. Up this end of the station here, from what I understand, these was a ladies' waiting room and a gentleman's waiting room. And then if we move down along here, we are into the refreshment rooms. And I've started planning that out. If I lift up the roof here, hopefully have a peek inside. So I've started working out what the floor layout should be. All I can tell from the drawings that I've been able to access is there was some sort of dividing wall in there, which I assume meant there was a kitchen on one side, probably some WCs over here, and then a servery or bar by the looks of it, and some seating there. So what I intend to do is keep these two windows here as clear and open, as well as the doors, and put in some details in there. So if we move along a bit further, what you'll see then here is what was the stairs up to the overbridge that used to be around here, and obviously it's not there yet, but I'm going to create that. And then there was for a long time a newspaper stand, etc., just out the front, and just out the front of here, which was the ticket windows and so on. So from this area here where the tickets were, I've 3D printed up some windows. They had some fairly unique details on them, so they're printed in clear. I've got another one over here which we'll talk about in a minute. Now if I can lift this roof up on the top here carefully and show you what's underneath that. So if I move this here, and hopefully you can see down in here, I've started planning out what the booking hall looked like. You can see where the stairs came up, that's just sort of in there, but the booking hall went through to the other side, and then there's obviously doors. If I can get down here, but you can see the doorways out the other side here on the forecourt, which I hope to finish off as well. So that booking hall, there was two ticket gates here, that one came out of the booking hall, and obviously the other one was for people coming off trains. We then move into what was the station master's area. I have a clear window here that I'm also going to fit. It's a bit wonky at the moment, but that's done in epoxy resin, as were some of these doors. And we move up here, the windows here, and also if I come to the end, you'll see a window. So not only is the end window here made out of an epoxy resin, but you hopefully can see the chimneys and some of the other details, such as those window inserts, the columns, the chimneys, and even these little things, as far as I can make out, were some sort of lion's head, which I sort of bodged up out of a couple of bits of plastic. And then if we move into this section now, there's a little bit of uncertainty here. I haven't been able to probably get this exactly right, but if I take the lid off here, you'll see we've got the station master's area, which I've got some furniture and some other windows and doors and stuff. And then next to that, there appears to be, I think, at least one parcel area, maybe two. So this area here and this area here were for parcels receival and parcels dispatch, as far as I can tell. And then as we move along further, even though I've got the roof there at the moment, there was a hut very much like this one at the end there. So that sort of gives you an idea of the overall look of Wakefield Station. Those who've looked at my previous videos around the layout walkthrough, I talked a lot about the clock. The clock itself is a combination. The column is styrene that I've scratch built. Then this bottom section here is again an epoxy casting, and then I had tried an epoxy casting for the top bit, but I wasn't entirely successful with that, and I didn't really like it that much. So what I've done is tried to teach myself 3D printing, and so this is all printed in 3D printing, except for the clock faces, which are an etching in brass from a company in York in the UK. And so yeah, so I don't know whether I will ever get fancy enough to have any clock internals in there, but you can see the clock itself was pretty amazing. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I've got to put in 4 little slotted windows, I suppose you'd call them, in there, and then when we come down to the area along Westgate itself, when I was there last couple of weeks ago, I took some photos of the wall that starts from here and goes up towards the old printery up here. So I'm going to construct that next. And then the only other thing that then remains to really be done is there was a shop down here which I've started to muck out, but I've got some better pictures of that, so I might do a better version of that shop. That was there next to Milne House, this is my sort of pseudo representation of Milne House. It's reasonably close. That's just got to be finished with some lighting, but everything else is done on that. And then I'd probably like to come around and, if I focus in on here, have a bit of a representation of what the forecourt was like through there. It's a pretty unique view, so I'm going to try and work on that afterwards. But hopefully you enjoyed this tour of Westgate. It's a bit wonky now because all the roofs are off, but hopefully that gives you an idea of what I'm about and where I'll go to next. Again, thank you to all the nice comments I received on the Wakefield Historical Appreciation page on Facebook, and for those of you who've joined up recently, I really appreciate everybody who's given me a bit of support. I suppose we should look at some trains. There's Great Central 04 there, and then as you might have seen, one of the key things that I want to have is this view here along what was called Back Garden Street or Back Garden Lane, depending on when you look, and then Over here also the view sort of looking that way is a pretty iconic view, and I'm pretty happy with the way that's turned out. Even this way looking up at the station and so on, so when you're down at track level there's quite a number of photos that were taken in this position. The only other thing I didn't actually talk about is the canopy. For those who know, Wakefield had a sawtooth canopy all the way along, and I've actually started making the columns and lateral supports for that. It's going to be a fairly big job to do, but yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to having a go at that. So that'll be probably the next major part of doing the work on Wakefield. Thanks very much, everyone.